we'll move on to our last little news item. And I think this will be a fun little discussion because, I'm not too much of a gamer nowadays. I don't really have much time between two podcasts and calling hockey and my actual job. And I've really kind of overworked myself now that I've said it out loud. But having a whole bunch of stuff, I've just not been able to kind of sit down and really play a good video game in the last couple of months. But this has been a game that has been talked about for quite a few years, getting close to a decade, and that is the return of EA Sports into the college football video game industry. And so we finally got some new details about the game, and unfortunately, so there were some thoughts that maybe they would come in 2023. That is not the case. It is now sounds like it's going to come out in the summer of 2024. There was an interview that Daryl Holt, the EA Sports Vice President General Manager, did with ESPN. And here's what we know about the game so far. This is being built from scratch, from the ground up. So it sounds like it's not going to be a Madden retread where they just put up the SEC colors and the ACC and whatever and just put on the Frostbite engine and you're good to go. No, it sounds like they're going to build this game from the ground up. The Dynasty mode and the Road to Glory will return. And so far, they've been able to secure the rights for at least 120 FBS schools, 10 FBS conferences, and the college football playoff. That's not all the schools, and they wouldn't say which schools are kind of holding out right now. But that's still a pretty fair amount, and getting all the conferences also is pretty key. And this is a direct quote from the article on ESPN. And this has kind of been a big talking point. This has been the talking point for this sort of franchise for decades. But Holt said there are still issues they're working through with securing college football players for use in the game, but our intent is to work towards that and find a meaningful way to include them in the game. Obviously talking about the image NIL stuff going on right now that's totally changed the way college football has been in the last couple of years. And obviously we're kind of seeing that now being in effect. So that's what we know about the college football game, whether it be the return of NCAA football or whatever new name they're going to go with at EA Sports. What are your thoughts on this game? Were you a college football video game guy, or was that something you never really played, but you've always kind of kept an eye on? What are your thoughts on that franchise?
So I never actually owned any of the NCAA games, but NCAA 14, last installment in the series, I had a friend that played it, and so we played it for a few years after that. And I think it's one of those games where it just offered something different. And I think EA tried a couple different things. I don't know if you remember the head coach series.
Yes.
But there was a couple different options back then if you wanted to play football. And they gotten away with it. They gotten away from it, and they've sort of brought different arcadey stuff back. But I think they're looking for another realistic option. And I think one of the big reasons is because of the success of college football revamped. And I'm not sure if college football revamped, I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm not sure if it's like a pirated thing. I forget what it is, but I know it's huge. And it was a big deal. A whole bunch of Madden YouTubers started playing it when it came out. And it was a big deal. And I think EA really kind of took notice of it. And maybe they almost kind of saw, well, people still really care. We can't just take Madden and then reskin it for college football. I think they kind of realized that with how much success the Road to Glory and that was, they really need to put some care into this because people love the franchise. College football is huge in the States, and I think
Huge.
There is a massive market for people to play college football games that might not really care about Madden, and which sounds crazy to say it's the same sport as it's U.S. football. But there really is such a giant market for college football that I think this could be a huge money grab. Maybe that's a negative thing to say, but it's a huge opportunity for EA to take advantage of. And I'm glad to hear that they're trying to do it right.
Yeah. I always take what EA says with a grain of salt because they've been, you're bad when you're voted the worst company not vote worst video game company, just the worst company in at least the US. So maybe who knows what it's like in other countries, but so I always kind of take it with a grain of salt. I didn't play the college football games when they came out. I was kind of like you. I kind of found it a little bit later on. I actually still play the old NCAA football 2006. That to me is the best version, just from kind of playing the others. And I like NCAA 14 from what I've been able to play. But for whatever reason, it may just be the nostalgia of playing Madden games that were similar at that time. But I just love the feel of it and love the way that it played. And being able to play as Reggie Bush, obviously, was kind of a big deal. And so I obviously enjoyed the Dynasty mode. The Dynasty mode to me was just so much fun to play. As you mentioned, it just provides something different. And, I liked in the '06 version, it was called Race for the Heisman. And that was a fun version too. And so it is very good to see EA at least kind of exploring it again. It's good to have a major video game company be involved in the college football stuff, because there's been a lot of independent games over the years that have tried to, but I think it really takes kind of a AAA company, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, to really kind of bring college football to its maximum potential, obviously with licensing and actually being able to play as the Alabama Crimson Tide, you know what I mean, or the LSU Tigers or the Clemson Tigers, So I'm interested to see how the game does. I'm always hesitant with EA because they can screw you over sometimes. And it's just like, it sounds good, built from the ground up. These modes are coming back and they're working really hard. They're trying to secure these licensing deals. But I kind of keep and really EA is like, I used to play the Maddens. Like my first Madden was Madden 05, and I played the Maddens all the way up to 2014, I want to say. And then I tried one more time in Madden 2018. And then I was like, I was out. I couldn't play any more of the Madden games. I just didn't like where the franchise was going. And so I'm both hopeful but also skeptical of this college football series from EA. Hopefully they put their all into it. And granted, the 2014 version was a solid game because it was different from Madden, and you could tell there was a dedicated team. Hopefully that's something similar here for this new college football series. I would love to see what a college football video game looks like in 2024. I'm interested to see what kind of players kind of develop out of that. Will I get to play as Arch Manning for the Texas Longhorns in NCAA football 2024? That'd be fun. I think Caleb Williams will probably be in the NFL by that time, but who knows? Maybe he'll be in this edition as well. But I'm looking forward to it. It's EA, and so I gotta keep a arm's length with that company.
I think that's another thing is there was such a huge, so many players in the NCAA games where they might not have gone on to NFL careers, but for some reason they just kind of stuck with people. And I think having that opportunity to connect with college players really provides something for the for football in general. There's so many people that just remember specific players because of video games.
Yeah.
And with college football, where these guys might not go on to have different careers, it'd be cool for somebody to like 5 years down the road be like I was in a video game, and like they might not have had an NFL career. They might have played like 3 games in college football. Yeah. But like that's so cool, and such a great opportunity that video games are able to provide.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And so we're going to keep an eye on that college football series, and we'll see where it goes from there. Just kind of wonder how they're going to continue on with it. We'll see it the summer of 2024. Hopefully they're going to use that time to really polish up the game because, it's a couple of years now. I think they announced it last year in terms of the new game coming out. So yeah, college football on the horizon. It'll be interesting to see what they do there.